These are not just powerful characters. These are beings who operate on levels where reality itself can be rewritten.
Okay, real talk for a second. We've all had that argument. You know the one. Your buddy hits you with Superman could beat literally anyone, and you just smile, because you know something they don't. Beating Superman? Cute. Beating the Justice League? Adorable, honestly. But soloing the entire DC universe? That means walking through the Spectre, shrugging off Perpetua, staring down Michael Demiurgos, the actual Archangel who is the concept of Michael, and not even blinking. That's a different tier of conversation entirely. So today, we're doing it properly. 10 Marvel characters who don't just beat DC's biggest guns, they end DC's cosmology. Grab a snack. This one gets ridiculous fast. Number 10, Oblivion. Now hear me out on this one, because it sounds like a cop-out at first. Oblivion isn't a guy in a costume. He's not throwing hands. He's the literal void that existed before creation. The nothingness everything eventually falls back into. Here's the fun part. You can't fight nothing. DC doesn't have a hero who beats the concept of non-existence, because that's not how fights work. Oblivion doesn't need to win. He waits. Every universe collapses into him eventually. He's less final boss and more the credits rolling after the story's already over. Terrifying, yes. Fun to explain at parties, also yes.
Oblivion was never born, never created, and never evolved. It simply always existed.
Number 9, White Phoenix of the Crown, aka Jean Grey, fully cranked up. This is Jean at her absolute peak, sitting inside the White Hot Room, which is basically the engine room of all creation. From there, she's not slinging fireballs. She's rewriting timelines and holding entire universes in her palm like a snow globe. Imagine Darkseid charging in with an Omega Beam, and Jean just edits the scene. He doesn't get erased in a fight, he gets erased in a rewrite. There's no version of "and then Darkseid punched harder" that fixes that problem.
Let me show you how.
Number 8, God Emperor Doom. Look, Victor Von Doom being smug and insufferable is basically a Marvel tradition at this point, but this version actually backs it up. After absorbing the collective power of an entire race of Beyonders, Doom didn't just get strong, he became the literal architect of reality, building Battleworld out of the wreckage of the multiverse. He casually shrugged off the Phoenix Force, the thing we just talked about 2 entries ago. If Doom rolls into DC's cosmology, he's not fighting Darkseid for control of Apocalypse. He's just quietly rewriting the deed to the whole universe, while Darkseid is still finding his car keys.
Wait for a miracle, as lesser men always do.
Number 7, the Living Tribunal. Every fictional universe needs a referee, and in Marvel, that's the Living Tribunal, the guy whose entire job is keeping reality from tearing itself apart. He doesn't fight, he judges, and when he decides something needs to stop existing, it stops existing. No beam attacks, no origin story, just cosmic paperwork getting signed and a universe quietly blinking out. DC has powerful cosmic judges too, but powerful doesn't help much against someone whose day job is literally erasing multiverses that get out of line.
Even in death, the Living Tribunal's remains held significance.
Number 6, Astral Regulator Thanos. Thanos, with the Infinity Gauntlet, was already a headache. Thanos, with a device literally built by the highest power in Marvel to hold the multiverse together. That's a different animal entirely. This version of Thanos absorbed eternity. He absorbed infinity. He absorbed the Living Tribunal we just talked about, and then, just for good measure, he absorbed the one above all. Yes, that one above all. We'll get there. Point is, by the time Thanos shows up to DC's front door, he's not holding 6 stones. He's holding the concept of holding things.
On to absorb the Living Tribunal and the one above all himself.
Number 5, Protégé. This one's a personal favorite because the power is so simple and so unfair. Protégé copies any power he sees, and he doesn't give it back. He looked at the Living Tribunal once and just became the new supreme being. That's it. That's the whole plan. Now imagine Imagine him meeting Darkseid or Mr. Misttalk. The moment he lays eyes on them, their powers become his powers permanently. DC's biggest threats basically become a very expensive donation to Protégé's collection.
Protégé. All right, we've talked about Protégé like a million times before, so we have to cover the character of Protégé. All right, so Marvel.
Number 4, the Ivory Kings, the Beyonders. Before Secret Wars in 2015, 3 of these things showed up and, almost as an afterthought, killed the Living Tribunal, wiped out every Celestial in existence, and snuffed out entire timelines like they were blowing out birthday candles. These aren't villains with a plan. They're closer to a natural disaster with opinions. DC's most powerful cosmic entities existing in the same reality as the Ivory Kings isn't really a fight. It's more of a scheduling conflict.
This would be known as Kings in White or the Ivory Kings, and they would look after.
Number 3, Molecule Man, fully unleashed. Owen Reese sounds like the most unassuming name on this list, and that's exactly what makes him terrifying. His powers come straight from the Beyonders, and at his peak, he helped rebuild the entire Marvel multiverse from scratch alongside Reed Richards. He's not manipulating matter, he's manipulating the idea of matter, down to the subatomic and narrative level. Superman punching Molecule Man is like punching a paragraph in a book you're currently a character in.
Pended for the Molecule Man.
Number 2, Pre-Retcon Beyonder. The original 1980s version of the Beyonder wasn't just strong. He was millions of times more powerful than the entire Marvel multiverse put together. To him, cosmic heavyweights like Eternity and Death weren't threats. They were a drop of water in an ocean he happened to be standing next to. DC's entire cosmology, Spectre and Perpetua included, still just that same drop of water.
Cows don't have wings because he doesn't want them to.
And that brings us to number 1. And honestly, there was never any real competition here. The one above all. Not a hero, not a villain. The literal supreme being of the Marvel multiverse. The creator, the writer, the source of everything that exists. Total omnipotence, total omniscience, total omnipresence. For the one above all to lose to anything in DC, DC would need something above its own supreme creator, the presence. And even that's a conversation for a different video.
Protégé saw the one above all use its power. Protégé could copy the power of the one above all.
So there it is. 10 Marvel characters who don't just beat DC's biggest names, they make the entire concept of biggest names feel a little quaint. Obviously, this is the kind of list built for arguing about in the comments. So who got snubbed? Who's overrated? Tell me below. And if you want the reverse version, DC characters who could solo the Marvel universe, smash that like button and I'll get it made. See you in the next one.